There is something just beneath. There is something just beneath.
How many people in here feel anxious a lot of the time? Stressed out. Alienated. Lonely. That's us all the time. Not all the time, but have periods of it. Okay. Besides whatever contributing factors are occurring in your own life, guess what the number one contributor culprit of that is?
You.
Caffeine.
It's so interesting. Nobody in Tuesday night guessed it either. No. Well, yes, those all, yes.
Social media.
No. Well, yes, but the phone. Also known as a CSD, a constant stimulation device. You guys, my ear is ringing all of a sudden. I don't know what's happening. There was a piece on 60 Minutes that I watched. And listen, I've been lecturing off and on about the destruction in our lives that phones create, and we're kind of not really paying attention to it. But there's so much science coming out now. So there was this piece on 60 Minutes that I found to be so disturbing and so interesting. So most of the data that's coming forward, and there's going to be a lot more, is basically talking about what's contributing to the stress in your lives is this. So, and I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? I actually feel like I live in more of a low-grade anxiety, and I meditate every day. More so now than even 4 or 5 years ago, when I was not even really on my phone that much. So I'm starting to see, okay, I'm an addict. And you know what's interesting is everybody's an addict. That's kind of what this interview is bearing out, is that technology is not neutral, and that the phones themselves have an addiction code, which is really a slippery slope, because here we're trying to live as artists and as human beings in a more connected way. So we're trying to stay more present with our feelings and share them. And yet, something that's combating that is our own driving to this when we don't want to sit and be with what's coming up for us. That already is an example of when we don't want to feel, we go to something else. That's an addictive quality. And the research that's showing out is that it increases your cortisol level, but you get stuck in a vicious sort of feedback loop, which is, and I kind of was noticing this week as well. So you put your phone away, or you just put it down next to you or whatever, and you're working, and then all of a sudden, they say that 150 times a day, the average person checks their phone. Addiction! I was checking my phone even though I wasn't getting any sex or the phone wasn't beeping, but I'm compelled out of habituation to reach for the phone. So this is what they're talking about. So you feel stressed, so you reach the phone. Momentarily, you feel some sort of antidote, some sort of okay, I feel better. But then ultimately you put the phone away, and it creates more of your cortisol, which is your stress level, to keep reaching for the phone. Really fascinating, right? It's also interesting that programmers have everything nowadays where you don't read left to right. Who does that anymore? It's all scrolling. But the whole scrolling application is because it enforces your wanting to continue to search to find the holy grail of the thing that you're empty of, you're searching for, that you keep thinking, and we've all gone down the scroll hole. 30 minutes of your life, that's what I'm calling it, that's good. 30 minutes of your life is, and then you're like, wait, what has happened? There's a reason for that. That's why programmers do it the way they do it. You keep thinking, I'm going to find what it is that I'm seeking by continuing to scroll, and we do it unconsciously. The last piece of information I thought was really fascinating is it really is also sort of, I think it appeals to the most basic part of ourselves. And I always call it the reptilian brain, but I heard them use another word that I really love, which is it's stimulating the bottom of the brain stem, right? So it's all about attention seeking. So that our fascination with social media is in a way for us to clamor, to get acknowledged, to get received. Again, the things that we are misplanting, putting it in the phone, that we're really seeking in life, real connection, we're finding that we're sort of like perverting it in a way of like trying to find value in something that's valueless. So it basically is stimulating the reptilian part of your brain. And if you don't remember what the reptilian part of your brain is, most kids up until the age of 25, that's how they operate. That's just basically been proven. Basically, it's your fight or flight response that always kicks into gear. Now listen, our fight or flight response is a part of what's kept us alive. We need it. But our cavemen brothers and sisters did it because they were scared they were going to get attacked by the saber-toothed tiger. So they were constantly in a state of cortisol overload because they had to look out for their lives. We don't have to look out for our lives. This is what's stimulating the same sort of neurological response. So the phone is basically telling you how to think and feel. Kids, that's really dangerous. That is really, really dangerous. And I don't think anybody here, myself included, can be like, I got it. I don't really use the phone that much. I got it. No, you don't. You're in denial, like I'm in denial. So what's the point about all this? I think it's just important to have conversations about it, that we don't constantly drive to the bottom of a pond and de-evolve into these robotic things. You know, I think a lot of people would like to argue, well, that's not true. Phones and social apps are like so amazing. We stay plugged in and we're all about social activism. And okay, yes, for sure. There's so many amazing things about staying connected in a world, especially right now, that makes you often feel like we're getting information that's important. And I think it is raising sort of awareness about things that need to come to the forefront. That's important. However, think about it on a daily basis. How often are you using that information to actually activate yourself towards something? If I'm searching my phone 150 times a day, most of it isn't because I want to get out and start going to do a march. See what I'm saying? So that sort of argument is a false argument. So I think, like everything, we have to become more mindful about how we use these tools that are supposed to make our lives easier, more connected, more functional, and are actually having a real neurological effect on you.
Hi, I'm Shailene Woodley.
Hi, I'm Ruby Rose.
Hi, I'm Brianne Howie.
My name is Olivia Taylor Dudley.
Hey, how's it going? Hey.
You always learn from your worst auditioning story.